Hello there, everybody. How are you guys all doing today? All right. Looks like I've got everything here from when we were last working on the game yesterday. All right, so I forgot to check off our weapons and then our properties. Where's this tab here? That's satisfying. Get just marking things done. Okay, so today we're going to be diving back into world building. So let's go ahead and jump over to what we know about the Shattered Seas. What all is going into the book here. What all we've got. Excuse me. What all we know about. Actually, hang on. I wonder if I could. Sorry, I'm overthinking video video editing. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to worry about whether or not I can get a little drop down bar there. And it's okay. I'm not even gonna think about that anymore. So as far as we go here, we're gonna be jumping back into world building. And so let's go ahead and just do a brief overview of where we sit currently. So world building for the Underkeeper RPG is broken off into several different manifolds, and those are going to be just different planes at different levels of adjacency and eccentricity to the prime manifold of the campaign setting. So this is going to be your analogous to your prime material plane. Our prime material plane here is manifold 1. We have a couple different ideas and such about naming and such, but naming can come later because we're talking and working with extraplanetary sort of realms. And so as the cosmos of this world are explored, each time we venture off of manifold, that's going to be indexing another manifold on our list. So we are aware of at least 14 manifolds analogous to manifold 1. Of these 14 manifolds, several of them have what are known as analog worlds. And analog worlds are basically worlds that are in superposition with the world of manifold. And so that's just saying, hey, when we jump over into this same area of space, we land on a planet. And so that planet then does a lot to color people's perceptions of that manifold, because even though these are alternate kind of universes, this is the prime point of injuncture for cosmological travelers from manifold 1. This is something that we will continue to build on in other games where we have people coming from other manifolds. The most common, well, not most common, but the most well-known manifold would be manifold 3, and that is Deavos, a Sylvan name for the world, otherwise known as Arcadia or the Fae. And then they have couple of sub-manifolds there that we don't need to go into that much. We have Manifold 5, which is Oridon, which is the homeworld of dwarves. And then we get into a lot of elemental planes. So we know a good bit about the plane of elemental air, also known as Oris or Gaeth Daish, or Celestia. Those names often kind of get used interchangeably when discussing it. And that came a lot from a previous campaign that I ran, in which that was the setting for one of the sessions. From there, we also know a good bit about Manifold 13, Ignis and Furnace, the plane of elemental fire. This is where, devils and demons and such reside. Though technically, demons come up from a little bit lower, but this is just a surface level discussion. So the two manifolds that we really didn't have a strong understanding of was Manifold 11, that would be Ionok, the realm of primordial water. And so that is something that we did a stream about probably about 2-3 months ago, and people seem to generally like the story, world building there. So we're going to definitely be returning there, doing a little bit more cleanup, doing some more work with the trench and such, but I don't think that's going to be a today. Today I was wanting to tackle Manifold 10, Terranaeus, the realm of elemental primordial earth. And so one of the things that I've kind of been doing is going back to earlier editions of D&D, earlier editions of other tabletop games, to just kind of see what they do in relation to what elemental earth really is. Because on one hand, we're here on Earth, but that's not necessarily the same thing across different games and across different fantasy experiences. And so the approach here from like 2nd edition is that the realm of elemental earth is a realm where everything is earth. It is a realm that is basically infinitely dense and has insanely high gravity, so it serves as this sort of trap to teleporters and planeswalkers and the like, as they will end up on this rock, perhaps due to a mistaken teleporting jump, and then they will just kind of be stuck there like flies on flypaper, and just needing to move maybe 5 feet at a time in order to dig out holes in the ground using spells and spellcraft in order to, position themselves upright and work on finding themselves a way home. In this sort of context, we have creatures like the Zorn, which have unique abilities to move through solid objects, move through solid earth. And so moving like a Zorn, or one of these earthen elemental creatures, is one of the primary ways to traverse and survive on this land. It's also important to note that the atmosphere of this realm of primordial earth in 2nd edition D&D is also just earth, so you are slowly being suffocated as, there is detritus and soil and just earthen materials building up in your lungs, and so it is just kind of one of the more deadly elemental planes to accidentally find yourself upon. And all things considered, I think that is a rather it's a take. It's a very interesting take. I don't know how useful this is as a world, or like as a place that players could go, but I there is something about it that I do quite enjoy, and just kind of in its simplicity and its immediate hostility to player interaction. That said, I'm not 100% sure how that would be properly adapted to an action-oriented tabletop RPG, where even though I don't market it as narrative forward, I want there to be actionable steps and things being able to be taken by players to progress a narrative, and a realm where you are inherently solving everything by your character sheet and using your spells and spell resources in order just to have access to move and random chances to progress. I find that is going to be detrimental design to a fun gameplay experience. So then if second edition isn't kind of the way that we want to fully take our realm of Primordial Earth, what would third edition look like? Third edition goes in a very different direction than second edition, where the realm of Primordial Earth, it's still a trap, but it's less so a trap of gravity, a trap of you show up here by accident. It is more of sort of like an anglerfish, where you have a lure, and then it is dangerous and deadly in other ways. The realm of Primordial Earth in third edition works very much in this way of it is a land that is Earth, but heightened. The biomes are more extreme. I guess one way of describing it would probably be taking your Minecraft world and then using the experimental, like, elevated world gen presets that is going to, one, cook your GPU, but two, create very wild and beautiful worlds. And the trap here is that the realm of Primordial Earth in third edition is where you can get a lot of spell components, a lot of resources, a lot of riches, and so it is rather easy to get diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, rubies, all of that stuff. You can find it scattered across the world openly. You can find treasures and pirate ships and all sorts of stuff that just is there. It's easily accessible, and so adventurers who might either be unknowing of the dangers of the realm or daring enough to take it on might go there in order to get either quick money, quick resources, quick ability to engage with their spellcraft in their own plane. And so the realm of Primordial Earth is then just dangerous based on the creatures, based on the environmental design of the land. And so very much this planet becomes something of a dungeon delve scenario, where players are going into this world for short periods of time, collecting what they can and extracting. So if you've played like an extraction game, some sort of like a looter shooter sort of thing, that's sort of the design of third edition's Plane of Elemental Earth, where you're just kind of zipping in, zipping out with as much treasure as you can get. And they have, once again, several different large creatures, several different dangerous wildlife and such, and I think that this is probably going to be a better direction to take this. So similarly, we've got a couple of ideas here. We know that the realm of Primordial Earth is a bit of a trap. We know that it is home to dangerous creatures, and we know that it is a place that players are going to want to go and get out of quickly, just kind of zip in, zip out. But if we take our kind of amplified Minecraft world example for what this could be, we have the Fey realm. We have Deavos. We have this other world that is, it's very much Earth plus plus, where you have large trees and this sort of grand fantastical area where there are huge mountains and stunning vistas, open fields with hostile wilderness. So could we simplify this in such a way that the Feywild and the realm of elemental earth are the same thing? That's a valid strategy. I'm not going to pretend like that isn't a reasonable course of action, that isn't a reasonable solution. But for me personally, I do want to keep them separate. So I've got the realm of Deavos, I've got the Fey realm, and I've changed a good bit about its origins and the nature of it to give it this sort of slightly more fantastic. No, not bleh. Not that the Fey realm needs to be made more fantastical, but I've incorporated this other element to it in the Eidolons and creature and this sort of forced rampant evolution to the land. And so we've also established, a couple different generations on Deavos, the Fomorians, the Kindred, and then now the Elves. Or sorry, not the Kindred, the Sylvans. The Fomorians, the Sylvans, and the Elves. Kindred are just a form of Sylvan. Where you have this sort of multi-generational struggle against Shapers who have changed the nature of the world. They have defied gravity. They have broken some of the laws of physics there that further accentuate the sort of whimsical and fantastical nature of this world. I've also been very open that Deavos is partially based on the end Devonian period of Earth and history, and so you've got large-scale placoderm fish in the oceans below, but you've also got, large-scale trees with thinner root structures like Archaeopteris. Once again, here on Earth, and so that is causing large-scale runoff, and so there are environmental issues here that are leading it a little bit towards a form of natural disaster. But because it's a fantasy world, because there's magic involved, the Fey realm is mostly going to be fine. It's mostly going to self-correct due to character interactions and engagement there. So, having that said, for the Fey realm, what can we do differently to make the realm of Primordial Earth unique? Something that is different, something that is special. And this is kind of where I was stuck yesterday. I was wanting to try and plan a little bit, prep for the stream, have an idea of where we wanted to go with this, and I was coming up a bit blank. We want, if we look at the usual sort of templates and guides and such that I use when creating worlds here, we usually have an introduction, a description of the world, creatures and inhabitants of the realm. So, your sapient creatures, your common monsters, your inhabitants of the world, your fantastical creatures, your predators, and then one of the core things that I want to be that I want to have show up in all of these worlds is dragons. And I put that in quotes because I don't want it to just be large, fire-breathing, scaly lizards. I want it to be something that fits the mold of a fantastical dragon, maybe a creature that hoards something, maybe a creature that produces something, a creature that is a large-scale environmental manipulator, a large-scale threat to the people who live there. If you think of Arrakis and Dune, I mean, there's a lot of different metaphors and things built into that world, but one of those is the sandworms. The sandworms are core to the functionality of Arrakis as a planet. And here's the thing, they're dragons. They are something that informs and reflects the culture of the planet. They are something that shapes its history, that shapes its resources. The sandworms themselves produce the spice that allows for interstellar travel, and so the sandworms themselves have become so integral to the nature of this world that, like, if you're going to go hunting sandworms, you're going to go hunting dragons. Like, they don't have hordes, they don't have loot, but they are protectors of this world. They have a connection to the Fremen, who are some of, if not the fiercest fighters in the Imperium. And so they are the primary, not competition, but they are the primary defenders of the planet, and therefore the spice, and so therefore conflict. And it's all conflict based on the biological nature of the sandworms, who themselves are kind of just a thorn in the side of the Empire. Eating spice carriers and such, and making desert travel even more dangerous than the Fremen who already live out there. And so that is something that I want to be core to each of these worlds, because once again, I'm pretty open in the fact that this game is based on Dungeons and Dragons. Underkeeper was originally a weapons mod and fork of 5e, and then I wanted to, incorporate some 4e sensibilities. I like the action economy and design of 4th edition, but I want, more 5e style advantages. I want some more 5e style customization. And then Draw Steel happened, and I like a lot of their designs and how they interpreted 4th edition style mechanics. And so I borrowed a little bit from there. I've borrowed a little bit from Daggerheart. I borrowed a little bit from Free League Publishing's Year Zero engine and that sort of mechanics. And so this game has become a lot more than just a 5e game, but or like a 5e fork. And so where was I going with this? And so dragons. So we want our worlds to have large-scale environmental manipulators. We want our world to have, meaningful change happening upon its surface. Meaningful change that is going to impact any cultures that exist on the world there. And so, dragons. And I mean, dragons are just cool. Like, I want it to be that when players encounter a dragon in the game, like, sure, you can have your reds, your golds, your blues, your silvers, and like, it's gonna be cool to see the giant fire-breathing lizards, maybe lightning, maybe acid, maybe death, but like, dragons are cool. But I want there to be something in each of these worlds where you have, like, once again, going back to Dune as an example here, you have Paul Atreides on the edge of the Ornithopter as the spice carrier falls into the mouth of the great sandworm. and you have this moment of just awe and reverence. And then you have Dr. Kynes, bless the maker and his water, bless his coming and willing, may his passage cleanse the world. And there is that inherent connection between what the characters are doing, what the characters are saying, and the culture and the world, and how it has been shaped by these massive creatures living there. And so I think I've got an idea of that with the realm of primordial water, since we were talking about Leviathans, we were talking about the Aboleth, and how it is meaningfully different to, a 5e Aboleth. But what would be a dragon for a realm of primordial earth? What would be a dragon for a world that is covered in riches? I don't know yet. But it's gonna be something, and it's gotta be cool. Like that. Like if this is going to make it into the book, it is going to have to just be a cool idea. So that's kind of a little bit of the background, a little bit of what we're going for here. What else is there to say? I've also been thinking a lot about monsters and like creatures that show up in the monster manual for D&D, for all of these games, and just kind of where these monsters come from, where they belong, the kind of monsters that I want to include, the ones that are new, the ones that are new interpretations of things, the ones that I adore from third-party publishers and want to do my own style of. And so once again, the question becomes, what do we do here? And one of the monsters that I haven't really known where to put places that show up in so many contexts, in so many different ideas, in so many different ways, are dinosaurs. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone loves a dinosaur. We've all seen Jurassic Park, and I find it, I think it's interesting, and it kind of, I don't want to say funny way, but like, I wonder if my solution to dinosaurs came up because, like, my girlfriend and I, we watch a lot of YouTube and such, and yesterday was kind of a very big day where where we watched a couple of videos during dinner and after, and all of them ended up having this sort of dinosaur feedback, or like this little bit of reference to Jurassic Park. And like, I think I was already thinking about it because of the passing of Sam Neill and Dr. Alan Grant in Jurassic Park. And so like, I wonder if like all of that has subconsciously affected me and made me be just thinking dinosaurs. But dinosaurs in and of themselves, because of things like Jurassic Park, feel much more like a science fiction element of a fantasy world. And so it feels like we're bringing something back from our world, something that might have gone extinct previously on a fantasy world. And so they always feel a little bit out of place to me, especially when we use the Latin names for dinosaurs or their abbreviations, like Tyrannosaurus Rex, Tyrant Lizard King. But why do we have a stat block in 5e called Tyrannosaurus? Latin didn't exist within the world of 5e. And so they would probably call it something else, something that feels more in line with the other monster names. It's just we in our world, through our study of taxonomy, through our organization of living things into into different classifications. We're like, hey, that's a dinosaur. And so I think that, once again, dangerous world treasures. I don't think dinosaurs are going to be our dragon of sorts for the realm of Primordial Earth, but I think that that's a good place to start. I think that if we don't know if we want dinosaurs to be in the present in our campaign setting, over on Manifold 1, I think we can keep them. We can have them in the book. We can have them in the game, but they're native creatures. Excuse me, to Manifold 10. So yeah, that's one part of it. I think we're gonna have dinosaur-like creatures on the realm of Primordial Earth. As far as the rest of it, once again, dangerous land. The Feywild is also a dangerous land. So Feywild has its night and day cycles. I really like a lot of the design. This is a bit of a tangent here. I really like a lot of the kind of Magic the Gathering world building for Lorwyn and Shadowmoor, and I do want to try and have some sort of incorporation of something like that into the Feywild and Shadowfell for my setting. It's going to kind of depend on how we get that working. I don't know fully. But ideally, I'd love to have some sort of mechanical connection there. So we have a lot of element X's kind of in the fire for Deavos. But for Terranaeus, we right now have dinosaurs. We have dinosaurs, we have treasure, we have danger. What else can we do? Because we need to do more. There needs to be something else. There needs to be something, the world needs to be more interesting. So, like if we go to Ionok, our realm of primordial water, we have Erasetum Station, also known as Nyla, which is, as far as description goes, it's a steel reef that spans the many ranges and the light levels of the oceans of Ionok. We have the Leviathans, who affect water salinity in their environments, that are large territorial creatures. They're kaiju. Those are our dragons there. But once again, Earth. We have treasures, we have dinosaurs. What else can we do? What can we add in? What can we twist that is going to change a lot of it? A lot of how this world works. My thought processes bring me to two cool movies that I've seen. Predators and Predator Badlands. I love the world building that they do there, but I don't know if that's something that is necessarily useful for here, because there's nothing about those worlds that isn't Earth++. If we look at the planet from Predators, it is this large overgrown jungle world with some sci-fi elements here and there, that just has beings and creatures from all throughout different times and spaces for the Yautja to hunt. So do we have alien hunters coming to the world of Terranaeus to hunt dinosaurs and whatever people come here? I don't think that that's a useful strategy, because we already have player characters. We have the world set up as this sort of land of riches that players are going to be coming to that players are going to be interacting with, trying to, collect their loot and get out, that are going to be fighting monsters. And so they're filling a lot of that Yautja role. If we were to base it on like a game planet from like the Predator games. We also have, if you've seen Predator Badlands, we have the planet Genna. Genna is a hostile environment similar to the game hunters worlds, and so what do we do with that? We have environmental hazards. We have the sharp grass. We have kind of Skull Island-esque monsters that live in the trees or that have long legs that stand above the trees. We have the giant worm on the mountain. We have a lot of cool special effects things, and they have the Kalisk there, which very much serves as a sort of dragon of Genna. But once again, as far as world building and diversity goes, it's not really changing anything about our world. Terranaeus is, it is amplified Earth. Genna is amplified Earth. The game planet in Predators is amplified Earth. It's just we're populating them with different monsters. Predators just is monsters throughout history. Genna is alien monsters, which typically have some sort of dinosaur-like quality to them, or prehistoric Earth-style monster qualities to them. Minus the Kalisk, because that's just kind of its own thing. And then now we're just kind of back at the start. So we can incorporate things like the sharp grass. We can incorporate things like the electric salamanders. We can incorporate all of that into it, but it's not changing the fundamental nature of the world. Do we have different cultures here? I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if we're going to have people from Terranaeus. I mean, we could always do something like that. Like if you look to movies like King Kong, Kong Skull Island, and those, they do have these tribal humanoid villages and settlements that exist on the land. But one, I don't want to run the risk of being wholly derivative. Two, I don't want to run the risk of, straight up cultural appropriation and such. And so I don't know if, like, having primitive tribal humans living here is a proper path forward. So what would be the alternative then? The alternative, would that be what? Dinotopia, where you have dinosaurs as the primary species, but humans live alongside them and work with them? Sure, but that goes against the "this is a dangerous world" narrative, because that is a very safe and contained world. It is this sort of utopian society of history meets prehistory. So that conflicts with the nature of the world as it has, one, already previously been established throughout D&D canon. Not that we have to follow that by any means, but it also conflicts with our idea of this world is dangerous, this world is a trap, this world is nigh inhospitable. It is the land of people coming in, collecting loot, and escaping. And so having long-term settlements of humanoids on this land almost feels contradictory to it. But at the same time, that is one of the ways that is going to be easiest to add in a lot of flavor. It's going to add in a lot of character to the world. So what do we do? I don't have a good answer. Um, yeah. I don't have a good answer there. I mean, it's not unlike TTRPGs to engage in forms of stereotype. Uh, I feel safe in knowing that I think we can do a pretty good job of avoiding harmful stereotypes if we went with a sort of more Aboriginal or like Outland style humans that fit into this very tribal sort of survival landscape. We could do a Skull Island here. We could do The Lost World with by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. We could do a Mysterious Island. Yeah, I never really said that as far as like, man. Mysterious Island, the Mysterious Planet. I mean, I've always been a bird kid. Well, not always kid, but like, I've always been a fan of Jules Verne. I don't know. Maybe that's a way. Maybe we could do a bit of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle since we have dinosaurs. We want to incorporate dinosaurs. And once again, these don't have to be exactly dinosaurs. Like, I've kind of mentioned one previously in the RPG, talking about the known heroes of the game fighting a Terranaeus, which sounds like a very shortened version of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Uh-huh. Yep. My image of that creature in my head, and as far as like what publication it would be and kind of how that would present itself, was very T-Rex. So like we rename our dinosaurs to be, what they would be called in a fantasy setting, but like doesn't solve the problem. It still doesn't. It hasn't. So I guess the question is then, what next? What can we put here? Because we don't want to put a sci-fi element in each world, because then that just means that this world is a sci-fi universe that has fantasy in it. I want Erasetum Station on Ionok to be unique, to be its own weird thing. And I want that weirdness to be, hey, yeah, that's because it's from a sci-fi setting. So we don't want something that is sci-fi here. We don't want something that is, technological to show up on this land. But we do want this land to, have dinosaurs. We want it to have an element X. So, yeah. I've just kind of talked for about an hour straight on what all can be done here. I don't think I've answered any of that. Which is fine. But it just leaves me in this sort of awkward situation where, alright, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Because, like, we already have several sort of tribal lands. We have several sort of diplomatic and political structures that are similar to that. So I feel like we'd be going back to the well a couple times too many if we were to do that again. I feel like if we did a Dinotopia, they would have to be incredibly secluded and hidden so that outsiders wouldn't be able to disturb the peace that they have. But then that also would inherently raise up the intelligence and sapience of the dinosaurs that live there, that live on Terranaeus, who are meant to be some of our bigger threats to travelers. So, like, we would have smart dinosaurs, but like, I think that is in part harmful to the idea because we want this world to seem dangerous. We'd need other examples, other natures for this world other than the one society that they actually got to work, the one peaceful society. Because if we just have one society here that is peaceful, that lives in harmony, that is how players are going to read the book. They're going to say, oh hey, this isn't a dangerous land. It's the planet that's full of riches and has, you know, dinosaurs and people living harmoniously. And so that is going to undermine the game design of get in, get out quickly. I don't know. Just don't know. Other things I've had on my brain is I've been getting very into, you know, Godzilla mythology, the Toho lore, Showa Heisei era Godzilla stuff, and like I've found those stories very cool, but I don't necessarily think of them as primarily actionable for this layout. Well, I mean, we could. We do have, you know, Leviathan Sea Kaiju on Ionok. I know there aren't going to be Kaiju on Oris and Ignis. Once again, temp names. So, like, if we have another world where there are Kaiju, that isn't unreasonable. I wonder if there's something that we could do there that we could then bring in to Terranaeus, bring into this world, and I don't know, just see what it does, see what we can do differently. I don't know, I think I'm kind of at a bit of a loss right now. I think I'm going to... I think that this has been useful. Just getting on stream here, talking through a lot of these thoughts and processes has been useful. But I think I'm going to just log off for a bit and just kind of come up with ideas and interactions, and like probably just like create like a conspiracy board web, and I'll probably it's right now 12:30 today, so like I'll probably be back on later. Like give me 2 or 3 hours and like just a walk, and I will have probably something. So I think I'm going to just jump off here and just kind of go do that. Uh, so yeah, short stream, I suppose, but thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for swinging by this uh, beginner level discussion on what this world is and what this world can be. I'll see you hopefully in a couple hours, and if not, tomorrow. Yeah, no. If I can't make it back today, I will be able to come in tomorrow and report back with what all I've come up with, what all we've designed. So yeah, take care. I'll be seeing you.